This game will bring it back to the booth. Ask our final trivia question of the morning to give away 12 months of premium, so stay tuned for that. But let's begin the finals with some temples, shall we? A triumph and plenty on each side of the board. Arnold's going to consult his hand before putting that top card to the bottom. We'll turn it over to Winn. He will untap and take a draw. This is a wild guess, discarding a Chandra's Phoenix. Look at the value.
Oh, that is a combo. I had not even considered that.
He has unlocked some sort of achievement.
That is a combination of cards, in short a combo.
My goodness, a mana confluence. All kidding aside, that card is very important right now as Arnold's going to go down to 19. It's going to fix his mana, but will the cost be too high?
And you can see Chain of the Rock in Tyler's hand, one of the most important cards in this matchup, just a way to, no questions asked, remove one of Jamie's powerful threats.
Also, the thing you got to like about Voice Resurgence in this matchup, it forces Winn to actually cast all his burn spells on his turn.
You're operating with, at minimum, more information, which is really nice.
Yeah. Looks like he is going to tap some mana here for the chain, and there that is. He's going to enchant that mountain and take that Voice of Resurgence with it before passing the turn back over to Arnold, who will take a draw. Fleecemane Lion was just picked up here for him. He's going to go down to 18 to cast that. A 3/3 does join the fray. You see he's got a Stomping Ground to put into play, but a Temple of Plenty will do just fine. Little scry action here. Top card will go to the bottom yet again before kicking it back to Winn, who's going to fire off a Magma Jet and go down to 19 doing so. Both of these players with a Mana Confluence in play going to take a little bit of damage on the way.
And if you were a believer of the hype of Mana Confluence and Standard, when that card got previewed, this elimination rounds is a vindication for you. It has been all over the place.
It took a week or so.
Yeah.
But it's starting to work its way into the format, as Winn is going to draw a card for the turn. He saw him pick up his Chandra's Phoenix from the graveyard, discarding its Wild Guess a little bit earlier. A Temple of Triumph, going to put the top card down to the bottom. Can he get that Fleecemane Lion off the table? Does he want to get that Fleecemane Lion off the table? Or is it time to go racing? It looks like it's time to go racing. Going to go down to 18. Going to push Arnold down to 14.
Yeah, getting Jamie down to 14 here. You know, there's no real life gain in his deck game one. And you have Warleader's Helix in hand. I think you just have to go on the offensive here, try to close out the game fast.
Arnold going to take 2. He's going to go down to 12. An attack for 3 is going to put Winn down. Well, maybe it's more. Oh, no.
Oh, my goodness.
Oh, goodness. Oh, boy. That's going to... I said 3? I meant 14.
Sorry, we got confused.
That's my fault. That's just bad commentary. That's 14 damage. That'll change some things.
Well, maybe time for Tyler to shift gears here and use a removal spell on this Fleecemane Lion.
Perhaps. Perhaps things have changed a little bit. He's going to play a Mana Confluence. What is this? This is a Warrior Series. Yeah, get that thing out of here, says Winn. No more of this nonsense. He's going to gain 4 life. Actually 3 when you count the Mana Confluence. Up to 7. Across for 2 we go.
I'm sure that he would have been thrilled to use that Warleader's Helix on Jamie, but the game has changed.
Life total's 9-7 in favor of Arnold right now, as Arnold does pick up a copy of Fleecemane Lion. Looks like he's going to cast that. Voice Resurgence says, well, he's going to go down to 8. 8 is a little bit dangerous here. See if this is going to come back to hurt him. An attack for 2 would put him down to 6, and then 2 3-mana spells will get the job done. Here we go. Down to 6. This is a Searing Blood. That'll put you down to 3. That's a Skull Crack. Tyler Winn has done it again. He is up a game here in the finals. Is it necessary to cast that Voice of Resurgence? That's the question.
I don't know. It's tough just because you're not going to beat a really good hand in that spot anyway. If you're Jamie, you're probably only winning against someone who's flooding out a little bit, or maybe has a weird hand, or has Chain the Rocks as their only form of interaction. It looks bad, but I think Jamie, the 1 point of damage, I think it's hard to imagine spots where he's winning now, because the 1 point of damage only matters if Tyler's hand's really good.
Sure.
In that case, you're probably losing anyway by only playing your 1 creature.
Sure. Trivia time, my friends. He's got the rules. I've got the year-long question.
Tweet, he's going to ask you a trivia question. Tweet your answer at SCG Live, hashtag SCG Premium. Of the correct responses, 1 will be selected at random for a full year of Star City Games Premium. It's about accuracy and not speed, so don't worry about submitting first, just correctly. And please keep in mind that this contest is run at the sole discretion of Star City Games. Twitch TV is in no way affiliated with this giveaway.
Next weekend, Open Series, it's off. We get a weekend off.
We do.
That is a delight. That never happens. I'm going to enjoy that weekend off. There's Pro Tour taking place in Atlanta, Pro Tour joining Knicks. There's also a sweet program that Star City Games is running all across the country. Name that program that you guys can play in all weekend long next weekend, hosted by Star City Games. And if you can, hashtag SCG Premium, and make sure you're following at SCG Live.
One of the all-time great organized play programs.
I'm a big fan. There's even a chance I may do Battle next weekend.
It is very popular and kind of the first major tournament that I cut my teeth on when I was coming up. So it's great to see Star City Games kind of bringing this thing back.
Yeah. Should be fun. Again, hashtag SCG Premium for your answer. We're going to head back to the match. Take a look at the sideboards right now. Tyler Winn does win game number 1. Jamie Arnold with some nice options in his board. 3 Keening Apparition, 3 Unflinching Courage, 2 Giant Growth, 3 Domirad, a Glare of Heresy, 3 Museum Mortars. I know you like those Courages.
Yeah, the question to me is, does Jamie bring in Museum Mortars because of the threat of Satyr Fire Dancer on the other side of the table? Does he need more removal spells? Because Fire Dancer out of Tyler's sideboard has the opportunity to really run wild, but I do think he wants the Unflinching Courage. Even though Chain of the Rocks is a card and you got to be worried about getting hit with instant speed removal, you've really only got to connect one time with a creature with Unflinching Courage for that card to be worth its weight. So I anticipate that coming in. The Keening Apparitions to fight over Chain of the Rocks as well and just give him another cheap threat. I think you'll see that come in too.
Other side of things, 4 Fire Drinker Satyr, 2 Chain of the Rocks, the Dictate, the 4 Fire Dancers, the 2 Wear Tears, the 2 Active Treasons. You gotta love the Fire Dancers here. Is there any way you bring in Dictate? Does that do anything?
I don't think so. I think the removal spells are so good, and the creatures are also pretty good as well. The Fire Dancer, as we've mentioned a bunch of times, has the possibility of running wild over Jamie's board. Chandra's Phoenix is very good as well, as we saw in that other game, and every burn spell can be used as a removal spell as well. So in that world, it's really hard for me to imagine that he's able to find room for 1 Dictate.
Dictate has been an interesting card over the course this weekend. We all saw the CVM blowout that Philip Fortner put on him, but I wonder exactly how good that card is. It's a very unique card. It seems like a great one-of. I know Fortner had 2 of them in his main deck and caught CVM off guard in round number 2 yesterday, but it seems like it's kind of working its way in here. I'm not sure if it's, got the Notion Thief syndrome of just being, man, I want to get you, or if it's actually pretty good, because it turns out Notion Thief is a, kind of a card where, the opponent wants to get you, but it also has applications as well. It seems like maybe Dictate falls in that camp.
I feel 1 copy of Dictate has a lot of upside in any sort of slow matchup. You don't want to draw a bunch of them, of course, and sometimes you don't even really want to draw the first one, but it is very good in certain spots, as we've seen. So I think 1 copy in the sideboard sounds right to me.
Both players going to take a look here. Jamie Arnold will be on the play. Not sure if he loves his hand or not, but it looks like he is going to keep it. Tyler Winn's going to do the same. A Stomping Ground untapped is going to lead things off. Down to 18 goes Arnold. See what 1-drop he's got to play. Looks like it's a Dryad Billiton before passing the turn back over to Winn. He'll take a draw. It's a Sacred Foundry tapped as Arnold's going to draw a card. In for 2 we go. Winn's going to go down to 18. Tie game here. What's the second land?
I was expecting Jamie to possibly try to sideboard out all of his small creatures that can be tagged with Searing Blood, but at least on the play, he's kept in Dryad Militant.
Well, a card that cannot be tagged by Searing Blood is Fleecemane Lion. And that one's a doozy here. 3 toughness is pretty important. That's a Searing Blood. You're going to tag that Dryad Militant, and that's exactly why.
Yep, it is. I mean, he did get in for a couple points of damage here. It wasn't no value, but the risk of getting hit with that card is pretty substantial, and it came back to haunt Jamie that turn at least.
Unflinching Courage, the draw there for Arnold. But the third land does not come into play untapped. It's going to be a Temple of Avan, and that top card's going to go down to the bottom. Going to play a Fleecemane Lion and pass the turn back. He just is trying to slide that Courage on something. Going to pass the turn back, will win after playing Sacred Foundry tapped. Do you make your move with Unflinching Courage now, or do you wait?
I think he waits. I mean, with 2 mana up, there's no real rush. It's not like Tyler can just afford to take 6 points of damage here, more than likely. So I would at least start by attacking and see what Tyler does.
That's what he's going to do. An attack for 6 is going to put Winn down to 9. The follow-up play is a Boros Reckoner. You got to like Winn's, because you got to like Arnold's board position right now.
Especially if the last card is Boros Reckoner, then I'm certainly not going to be casting, trying to cast the Unflinching Courage that turn.
He saw a Boros Charm, makes it 9 to 9. A mountain going to come into play here for Winn. And you also got to love that Unflinching Courage, a great target for the Boros Reckoner.
That is a combo.
Yeah, go ahead, kill it. Here's an attack for 9. And that's just going to do it, just straight up. Nothing that Winn can do about that. We knew these games were going to be fast and furious, but this is ridiculous.
That kind of draw is really hard for Tyler to beat. He's not that well equipped to handle a sea of 3 toughness creatures, because if he's using his removal spells, if he's using his burn spells as removal spells, that plays right into Jamie's hands. So at that point, he really only needs to get one threat to stick. And if he's trying to win the game by, searing blooding and trying to shuck and jive and race with his burn spells, then cards like Fleeceman Line are going to be very good against him. That's what you saw in that second game.
This matchup may be all about who's on the play. That would not surprise me at all.
Definitely helps a lot. And if I'm Jamie here, I need to strongly consider going back to the sideboard and getting these one-toughness creatures out of the deck. I'm not sure how much of that he's already done, but I would be scared to death of my one-drop getting hit by Searing Blood when I'm on the draw, especially because if Jamie's casting one of his one-drops in the first turn, it almost certainly involves Mana Confluence or a dual land coming to play untapped. And I think you're walking into a potential devastating opening sequence there if your one-drop gets tagged by a Searing Blood.
Yeah, we saw it in that game, but I think the only reason that didn't come back to hurt Arnold too much is simply because he was on the play.
Yeah, Jamie was just out in front the whole time.
Yeah.
But if, imagine on turn 3 he has nothing instead of another Fleeceman Lion, then that 3 damage that he takes there might allow Tyler to shift gears and turn into a full burn deck. He had to react too much to Jamie's board that game because Jamie's draw was so fast.
Yeah. We're going to see how it goes here. Game number 3 between these players. Take a look at the clock in the middle there. 11:58, 9, 12 minutes.
We are breaking all sorts of speed records in Knoxville this weekend.
We might be the first ones to breakfast this weekend. That never happens.
Yeah, I mean, the breakfast before 9 after leaving before 10 yesterday is that blows out our previous record. It's not even close.
Yeah, it's not even real. Mana Confluence, thank you very much.
Thank you. Yeah. Someone's got to go.
Yeah, someone's died here. That's for sure. Game 3 between these two players. Again, Tyler Winn, #1 seed, has not lost on the weekend. Jamie Arnold with Brave Naya, a deck that has been kind of underplayed, not having the finishes that Brad Nelson was probably hoping for, but this is really its breaking out party this weekend.
I'm really excited about getting to play against Mana Confluence. That has not happened yet. But in Legacy, when I'm playing Burn, every single time my opponent plays a fetch land, my eyes open up a little bit, like widen,
You are at 19.
Like you're going to do that?
Yeah.
You're going to go ahead and do that? Okay. That's good.
Mana Confluence
is like that over and over again.
It's just right it's right in my range as a card to play and want to play against.
Yeah.
I love a good, 3-color aggro deck.
Oh,
Something I generally enjoy.
Oh, I don't like that kind of stuff.
Yeah, that's for me. I like to really push the limits of my mana base sometimes. Never a big zoo guy, but I like a 2-color aggro deck with a splash.
Okay.
I like to dabble a little bit in the third color.
Usually I feel like if I just kind of cast my stuff, I'll be fine. And so anytime I lose a match because I had stuff in my hand I couldn't cast for whatever reason, I'm just beyond infuriated.
You need to top deck harder.
So that usually excludes 2.5 color beatdown decks.
Ah, sure. It sounds like.
Why do I have a Reaper of the Wilds in my hand? I can't cast it, and even if I could, it wouldn't be very good.
Sounds like
I have that feeling
somebody isn't very good at building a mana base.
That is true.
That's what it sounds like to me.
I am not very good at building mana bases. That is a fair critique.
You got to crunch their numbers, my friend. That's where I get the most enjoyment out of it. Both players are going to draw their opening hands. Oh, a mulligan here for Tyler Winn, and Jamie Arnold is going to keep. Mulliganing for the burn deck, and not so good.
It really puts a lot of pressure on Tyler to find Chandra's Phoenix. That's the kind of card that can really undo a mulligan. It's a powerful threat. Jamie isn't really equipped to block it, and it allows him to play more of a removal game because he has a repeated source of damage. Satyr Fire Dancer is also potentially a big deal off a mulligan here. That can be worth a lot of cards.
Wild guess discarding a Chandra's Phoenix, not so bad either.
That was a combo.
That is a delight. I didn't even know Wild Guess was legal. It kind of caught me by surprise.
Not really a card on my radar.
Yeah. I saw it in the deck list. I'm like, is that a thing? Okay, sure. Go for it.
It's such an odd duck, and you never see it in deck lists. So
yeah,
it's easy to forget that it's a legal card.
Not a thing that happens, but it's happening here too in the main deck. And as a result, we'll probably see more of them moving forward in these burn decks. Winn going to take a look at his 6. He's happy. Sacred Foundry. Pass the turn back. Game 3 of the finals is underway. Winn's hand looks pretty good. You see a Satyr Fire Dancer over there. Arnold going to go down to 18. He's left his 1-drops in. You don't know how many, but we see a Soldier of the Pantheon here as well. That's what he's going to lead the game off with.
We'll see. I mean, Tyler has a draw involving Searing Blood. This is going to be pretty bad.
And there is Searing Blood. Arnold's going to go down to 15 immediately. You see a Stomping Ground in his hand. Another Soldier of the Pantheon as well. Mana Confluence. He deals himself a lot of damage.
Oh, boy.
There's a Soldier and a Dryad Militant passing the turn back. So he's definitely left the 1s in here as he's at 14. Winn draws a card. Going to play a Satyr Fire Dancer into a Temple of Triumph. The Scry is going to put the top card to the bottom. Does Arnold have a card like Unflinching Courage this turn as he draws a Sacred Foundry? Going to attack for 4, put Winn down to 16. The follow-up is just a Sacred Foundry tapped and passing the turn back. Things are going to get scary now.
For sure. You know, even if he had Unflinching Courage, how good would he even be in the face of the Satyr Fire Dancer?
Not the best. As Winn's going to play a Mutavault, pass the turn back. You see his hand. He's got a Boros Charm, a War Leader's Helix, and a Skullcrack. And he's feeling so good about himself, he's going to attack for 1 with the Fire Dancer. Arnold going to go down to 13.
Tyler's hand is completely loaded. And this is going to be a great demonstration of what Satyr Fire Dancer is capable of doing here.
It's time to attack. Winn says, that's fine. I will go down to 12. Follow-up is a Loxodon Smiter.
Honest Abe.
Yeah.
Loxodon Smiter.
Just a big dummy with a hammer. Yeah. Winn is probably going to have some end-of-turn effects here.
Hey, who wants to attack or block? I'm pretty good.
I'll play.
You like discard and counter spells? Well, sorry. Pretty good against those two.
I'm going to consult the hand here. 4, 8, 9, 10, 11 points of damage in his hand.
This feels like fairly easy sequencing to me. I think that you just start this off by War Leader's Helix. It's the most expensive spell in your hand. You get to kill the Smiter, and it gives you maximum flexibility going forward. And it looks like Tyler's drawing the same conclusion.
Yeah, he says, all right, I'm going to take care of that. I'm going to get my 4 life. You're going to take 4. You're going to go down to 9. And the big thing here is, does he remember the Soldier of the Pantheon trigger? Because that life gain actually matters, and I don't think he did.
No, maybe that was what was giving Tyler some pause there.
Yeah.
But
another copy of Satyr Fire Dancer drawn. That's going to come into play. Things are going to get real ugly now. Boros Charm, we're going upstairs. Both your creatures are dead. It looks like Arnold's going to miss the trigger on that one as well. He's going to go down to 4. It's easy to forget those soldier triggers as Arnold's going to draw a card for the turn. It's another copy of Manic Influence. His last card in his hand, that's a spell, is a Boros Charm. You see the 3 other lands here. Tyler Winn on a mulligan is in the driver's seat. Stomping Ground going to come into play tapped. Winn will untap. He'll take a draw. He's going to play a Sacred Foundry tapped. Fire up Mutavault. This is an attack for the win. Tyler Winn defeats Jamie Arnold 2-1. Red White Burn is your champion here in Knoxville.
Satyr Fire Dancer, very good against Jamie in the post-board games. There's no other way to put it.
Absolutely.
Not a lot of removal. It's a big cost for Jamie to bring in his copies of Mizium Mortars because there's so few targets in Tyler's deck. But without any removal spells for those Satyr Fire Dancers, it's going to be really hard for Jamie to win. You saw that third game. Even with Tyler mulliganing, those Fire Dancers did a ton of work.
You know, this is really telling from last weekend when we saw Tyler Winn on camera and lose a really close match to Adam Jurczyk, a former pro player who's kind of making his way back onto the scene. Jurczyk played a beautiful match there. Maybe we disagreed a little bit with some of Tyler's play, some of the card choices in his deck list, but you can tell he went back to the shop, took the deck in, changed some things, came out with a better build this weekend, and found something that he liked, and now he's a champion here in Cincinnati.